Have you ever looked at a map of India? If you look closely at the top right corner, like a tiny thumb pointing towards the sky, you will find a small state called Sikkim. It is nestled in the mighty Himalayas, the great mountain range that stretches across Asia. Sikkim is a land of giants, not the kind you read about in fairy tales, but giant mountains that touch the clouds. The most famous of them all is Kanchenjunga, the third highest peak in the world. Its snowy tops glow like gold when the morning sun first appears. This beautiful state is a wonderland of nature, a place where every turn in the road shows you something new and breathtaking. It is a place filled with green valleys, deep blue lakes that look like pieces of the sky, and waterfalls that sing a constant song. The journey into Sikkim is an adventure in itself. You travel on winding roads that hug the mountainsides. On one side, you see the steep rocky cliffs rising high above you. On the other side, you look down into deep gorges where rivers rush and roar. The air begins to change as you climb higher. It becomes cooler, cleaner, and filled with the scent of pine trees and damp earth. You leave the noise of the busy cities far behind you. Instead, you hear the chirping of birds you have never seen before and the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind. Sikkim is not just a place on a map. It is a feeling. It is a feeling of peace, of wonder, and of being very, very small in a very, very big world. As you travel deeper into the heart of this Himalayan kingdom, you find that it is a place of many colors. The hills are covered in a thick blanket of green forests. During spring, these forests burst into bloom with rhododendrons of all shades: red, pink, white, and purple. It looks as if a painter has splashed his brightest colors across the mountains. The rivers here are not lazy and slow. They are wild and full of life. Their waters are brilliant turquoise blue as they tumble over rocks and stones. And then there are the people, with their warm smiles and gentle ways. They live in harmony with the mountains, their lives shaped by the seasons and the ancient rhythms of nature. Sikkim is a special place, protected and cherished. It is one of India's cleanest states, a place where plastic bags are not welcome and the environment is respected. This care for nature is not a new idea here. It is a way of life that has been passed down through generations. The mountains are considered sacred, the homes of gods and spirits. The lakes are holy, and the forests are filled with stories. To visit Sikkim is to step into a world where nature is not just a backdrop for life, but the very heart of it. It is an invitation to slow down, to breathe deeply, and to see the world with fresh eyes, just as I did on my journey to the hidden gems of this incredible land. After a long and winding drive through the mountains of North Sikkim, we arrived in a village called Lachung. It was like stepping into a picture postcard. The village is spread out on both sides of a fast-flowing river, also named Lachung. The river's water is so clear you can see the smooth, colorful stones on its bed. It rushes down from the glaciers high above, and its sound is a constant companion in the village, a gentle roar that is both powerful and soothing. All around the village, tall, dark mountains stand like silent guardians. Their peaks were covered in a fresh dusting of snow, even though it was not winter yet. And everywhere you looked, there were waterfalls, thin silver ribbons cascading down the green mountain slopes. Lachung means small pass or small mountain. It is a fitting name for a village that serves as a gateway to the higher, more remote parts of the Himalayas. For centuries, it has been a resting place for traders and travelers heading towards Tibet. Today, it is a base for adventurers and tourists like me, eager to explore the wonders that lie beyond. The village itself is a charming mix of old and new. You see traditional wooden houses with brightly painted windows standing next to small hotels built to welcome visitors. The air is crisp and thin, a reminder that you are over 8,600 feet above the sea. It makes you walk a little slower, breathe a little deeper, and notice the small details of this beautiful place. The river is the lifeline of Lachung. It cuts the village into two halves, connected by a sturdy iron bridge. Standing on that bridge, I felt the spray of the cold water on my face. I watched the river churn and foam as it made its way downstream. Local children were playing near the riverbanks, their laughter mixing with the sound of the water. An old man, his face wrinkled like a map of the mountains, told me, "This river is our mother. It gives us water and it sings us to sleep at night." He explained that the river's mood changes with the seasons. In spring, it is full and energetic with melting snow. In winter, parts of it freeze over, creating patterns of ice along the edges. The village is not just a place to stay, it is a place to experience. Walking through its narrow lanes, I saw life unfolding at a gentle pace. There were no blaring horns or rushing crowds. Instead, there was the sound of a hammer from a carpenter's workshop, the cheerful chatter of women washing clothes by a stream, and the sight of prayer flags fluttering in the breeze. The scenery is so grand that it can take your breath away, but it is the simple, quiet moments that truly capture the spirit of Lachung. It is a village that lives and breathes with the mountains, a small community held safely in the lap of the Himalayas, offering a peaceful retreat from the world outside. Life in Lachung is simple and deeply connected to the earth. Most of the houses are made of wood, with sloping roofs to shed the heavy snow in winter. Many of them are painted in bright colors, blue, green and yellow, which stand out beautifully against the green hills and grey rocks. What caught my eye were the small greenhouses attached to almost every home. These are simple structures made of plastic sheets stretched over a wooden frame. Inside these warm, sheltered spaces, the villagers grow a surprising variety of vegetables. Even in the cold mountain climate, they manage to cultivate cabbage, spinach, potatoes, and delicious tomatoes. It is a clever and necessary way to have fresh food when the village is cut off by snow. Farming is a way of life here, but it is not easy. The villagers have carved small terraces into the steep hillsides to create flat ground for their crops. You can see these neat patches of green climbing up the mountains like steps. They grow potatoes, maize, and buckwheat. I met a woman named Pema who was tending her small vegetable garden. She had a warm, welcoming smile. "We grow what we eat," she told me, holding up a large, healthy-looking cabbage. "The soil is good and the mountain water is pure. Everything tastes better here." She explained that they use natural fertilizers and rely on their traditional knowledge of farming, passed down from their parents and grandparents. Spirituality is woven into the fabric of daily life in Lachung. The people here are mostly Buddhist, and their faith is visible everywhere. Colorful prayer flags are strung across rivers, on bridges, and on the rooftops of houses. There are 5 colors in a specific order: blue for the sky, white for the air, red for fire, green for water, and yellow for the earth. The wind carries the prayers and blessings printed on them across the mountains, spreading goodwill and peace. There is a small monastery, or gompa, perched on a hill overlooking the village. Its walls are adorned with beautiful paintings, and the air inside is thick with the scent of incense and butter lamps. It is a place of quiet contemplation and deep peace. In the evenings, the village grows quiet. Families gather in their warm kitchens, sharing stories and a simple meal. A popular local dish is thupa, a hearty noodle soup with vegetables, which is perfect for the cold weather. I was invited into a home for a cup of butter tea, a salty, warming drink that is an essential part of life in the Himalayas. As I sat by the fire, listening to the family's gentle conversation, I felt a sense of contentment. Life in Lachung is not about having a lot of things. It is about community, about respecting nature, and about finding joy in the simple, everyday routines of life in the mountains. The road from Lachung to Yumthang Valley is an adventure in itself. It is a bumpy, winding track that climbs higher and higher into the mountains. Our jeep moved slowly, carefully navigating the sharp turns and rocky patches. But the slow pace was a blessing, as it allowed us to soak in the incredible scenery. We drove through forests of tall pine and fir trees. The Lachung River flowed far below us in the gorge, a ribbon of turquoise twisting through the landscape. We passed shepherds guiding their flocks of sheep along the roadside, their bells tinkling softly in the mountain air. Every few minutes, we would stop to let a waterfall splash across the road, a free car wash provided by nature. Yumthang Valley, which means Valley of Flowers, is a breathtakingly beautiful meadow. When we arrived, it felt like we had entered a different world. The valley is a vast expanse of green, surrounded by towering snow-covered peaks that seem to touch the sky. The floor of the valley is like a soft carpet of grass, dotted with wildflowers of every imaginable color. In spring, from March to May, the valley is famous for its rhododendrons. There are over 24 species of this flower here, and they paint the hillsides in brilliant shades of red, pink, purple, and yellow. Even though we were visiting later in the year, there were still patches of small, delicate flowers blooming near the river. A crystal-clear river, a tributary of the Lachung River, meanders gracefully through the middle of the valley. Its water is icy cold, flowing directly from the glaciers above. We walked along its banks, our feet sinking slightly into the soft, damp earth. A few yaks were grazing peacefully, their long, shaggy hair protecting them from the cold. They barely lifted their heads as we passed, completely at home in this high-altitude paradise. The air in Yumthang is thin and pure. At an altitude of over 11,800 feet, you can feel a little breathless, but the sheer beauty of the place makes you forget any discomfort. It is a place that invites you to be still, to listen to the silence, and to feel the immense power and peace of the Himalayas. The valley is also a place of prayer and spirituality. All along the river and on the small wooden bridge that crosses it, there are long strings of colorful prayer flags. They flutter and snap in the constant wind, their colors bright against the green and white landscape. The local people believe that as the wind blows through the flags, it carries the sacred mantras printed on them across the valley, spreading peace and compassion to all living things. Standing there amidst the flowers, the mountains, and the whispering flags, I felt a profound sense of calm. Yumthang Valley is more than just a beautiful place. It is a sanctuary for the soul, a reminder of the unspoiled beauty that still exists in the world. From the beautiful Yumthang Valley, the journey continues upward. The road becomes even more rugged and challenging as it snakes its way towards a place called Yumasamdong, more famously known as 0 Point. This is where the civilian road ends. Beyond this point, the land stretches towards the border with Tibet, a region controlled by the army. The landscape changes dramatically as you climb. The green meadows of Yumthang give way to a starker, more barren terrain. The trees disappear, replaced by small shrubs and rocky ground. The air gets noticeably thinner and colder. We were now at an altitude of over 15,300 feet, a height where the world feels different. When we finally reached 0 Point, I was left speechless. It is a vast, open space surrounded by a spectacular panorama of snow-clad mountains. It feels like you are on the roof of the world. Snow lies on the ground in thick patches, even in the middle of summer. Small streams of melting snow create intricate patterns on the dark, rocky soil. The sky is a deep, brilliant blue, a color you only see at such high altitudes. There is a sense of raw, untouched wilderness here. There are no shops, no houses, just a small army checkpoint and a few temporary stalls where locals sell hot tea and snacks to shivering tourists. The name 0 Point is quite fitting. It is a place where the road stops, and civilization as we know it seems to fade away. Standing there, I could feel the biting wind on my face. It carried the chill of the glaciers that were just a short distance away. A young soldier wrapped in a thick jacket told us, "This is as far as you can go. The border is just over those mountains." He pointed towards a massive wall of rock and ice. Looking in that direction, I felt a mix of awe and humility. It is a reminder of the immense scale of the Himalayas and the lines that humans draw upon them. Despite the harsh conditions, there is a strange and powerful beauty to 0 Point. It is a place of extremes, extreme cold, extreme altitude, and extreme beauty. The silence is profound, broken only by the whistling of the wind and the crunch of your footsteps on the gravelly ground. I saw a few visitors building small stone stupas, a common practice in the Himalayas to mark a visit and make a wish. It is a place that makes you feel small and insignificant, yet at the same time deeply connected to the vastness of the universe. A trip to 0 Point is not just a drive, it is a pilgrimage to one of the most stunning and remote corners of India. On our way back from the high altitudes of Yumthang and 0 Point, we made a stop that was just as memorable. A short distance from Lachung village lies a magnificent waterfall, known simply as the Lachung Waterfall, or sometimes the Bim Nala Falls. You can hear its powerful roar long before you see it. The waterfall is a majestic sight, a huge volume of water thundering down a series of rocky steps. It is one of the tallest and most impressive waterfalls in all of Sikkim. The water crashes into the rocks below with tremendous force, sending up a fine mist that hangs in the air and covers everything nearby in a gentle spray. We parked our jeep on the side of the road and walked towards the small bridge that crosses the stream flowing from the base of the falls. The closer we got, the louder the sound became. It was not just a sound, it was a feeling, a vibration that you could feel in your chest. The sheer power of the water was mesmerizing. It was a raw display of nature's force, a constant, unstoppable flow carving its path through the hard mountain rock. Standing on the bridge with the cold mist cooling my face, I watched the water churn and foam as it rushed underneath. It was a thrilling and humbling experience. The area around the waterfall is lush and green, fed by the constant moisture. Ferns and mosses cling to the wet rocks and wildflowers grow in the crevices. A small tea stall has been set up near the bridge, offering hot tea and noodles to visitors. It is a perfect spot to sit and admire the view. I spoke with the lady running the stall. She told me the waterfall is at its most powerful during the monsoon season, from June to September. Sometimes the water is so strong it feels like the whole mountain is shaking, she said with a laugh. It is a bit scary but also very beautiful. Unlike the quiet stillness of the high-altitude valleys, the Lachung waterfall is all about energy and movement. It is a dynamic and ever-changing spectacle. The way the light catches the spray, creating fleeting rainbows in the mist, is a magical sight. It is a reminder that the beauty of Sikkim is not just in its silent, snow-covered peaks, but also in its living, breathing rivers and waterfalls. These cascades are the arteries of the mountains, carrying life-giving water down to the valleys below. A visit to this waterfall is a perfect way to complete the journey through North Sikkim, a final powerful chorus in the grand symphony of the Himalayas. The people of the mountains live with a deep respect for nature, but they also know its power to destroy. In October 2023, the people of North Sikkim experienced this power in a terrifying way. A glacial lake high up in the mountains, South Lachung Lake, burst its banks. This sudden outburst sent a massive wall of water, mud and debris roaring down the Tista River Valley. The flood was catastrophic. It washed away bridges, roads, and entire sections of villages. The main lifeline of North Sikkim, the Tista Stage 3 Dam at Chungthang, was completely destroyed, a testament to the incredible force of the water. The village of Lachung, which I had come to admire so much, was severely affected. The river that was its gentle companion turned into a raging monster. It swelled to an unimaginable size, sweeping away houses, hotels and farms that stood near its banks. The iron bridge connecting the two halves of the village was washed away, cutting off the community. For days, Lachung and other villages like it were completely isolated from the rest of the world. The beautiful valley I had just described was scarred by the flood. The river carved a new, wider path for itself, leaving behind a trail of destruction, sand and boulders where homes and fields once stood. I spoke to a hotel owner who had lived through that terrible night. His voice was quiet as he recalled the event. The sound was the first thing, he said. It was not the sound of a river, it was the sound of the entire mountain coming down. We ran to higher ground with just the clothes on our backs. In the morning, we saw that everything was gone. The river had taken it all. He showed me marks on a hillside high above the current river level, indicating how high the water had risen. It was difficult to imagine such a volume of water rushing through this peaceful valley. The flood was a stark reminder of how fragile life can be in the face of nature's fury. It also highlighted the growing dangers of climate change in the Himalayas, where glaciers are melting at an alarming rate, making such lake outbursts more likely. The recovery has been slow and difficult. The army worked tirelessly to build temporary bridges and clear roads, but the scars on the landscape and in the hearts of the people remain. Yet amidst the devastation, I also saw incredible resilience. People were helping each other rebuild, clearing debris and starting over. The spirit of the community, though shaken, was not broken. Nature changes life in the mountains, sometimes with beauty and sometimes with brutal force. About 2 hours' drive from Lachung, through more winding mountain roads, lies another important village called Lachung. Lachen and Lachung are often called sister villages. They are the two main gateways for exploring the northernmost parts of Sikkim. While Lachung leads you to Yumthang Valley, Lachen is the starting point for journeys to the even more remote and sacred Gurudongmar Lake. Lachen sits at a slightly higher altitude than Lachung, at around 9,000 feet. The name Lachen means Big Pass, a fitting title for a village that guards the way to some of the highest regions of the Himalayas. The village of Lachen has a distinct character of its own. It feels a bit more rustic and traditional than Lachung. The houses here are unique. They are built in the traditional Sikkimese style, with sturdy wooden frames and intricately carved and painted window panes. Many of the older houses have stood for generations, weathering the harsh mountain climate. Walking through the narrow, sloping lanes of Lachen, I felt like I had stepped back in time. There were fewer hotels and tourist shops, and a stronger sense of a community living a life that has remained unchanged for centuries. Life in Lachen is governed by a unique traditional administrative system, known as the Dzumsa. The head of the Dzumsa, called the Pipon, is elected by the villagers. This local body makes decisions on everything from community farming to resolving disputes. It is a system that has helped preserve the traditions and social harmony of the village. The people of Lachen, known as Lachenpas, are primarily of Tibetan descent. They have a semi-nomadic lifestyle. During the summer months, many of them move to higher altitude pastures with their yaks and sheep, living in temporary huts and returning to the village before the harsh winter sets in. My time in Lachen was brief, but it left a lasting impression. I visited the Lachen Monastery, a peaceful sanctuary perched on a hillside above the village. From there, I had a stunning view of the Lachen Valley and the surrounding peaks. I watched children playing in the village square and elderly women sitting in the sun, spinning prayer wheels. There was a sense of deep-rooted peace and resilience here. Lachen, like its sister village Lachung, is a testament to the human ability to create a home and a community in one of the most challenging and beautiful environments on Earth. It is a place where tradition is not just a memory, but a living, breathing part of everyday life. My journey through the hidden gems of North Sikkim was coming to an end. As I prepared to leave, I looked back at the towering mountains, the green valleys, and the resilient villages of Lachung and Lachen. This is a land of breathtaking beauty, but it is also a land of immense challenges. The recent flood was a powerful and tragic reminder of the forces that shape this landscape and the lives of the people who call it home. The scars were visible everywhere, in the widened riverbeds, the broken roads, and the empty spaces where houses once stood. It would be easy to see only the destruction and feel a sense of sadness. But what I will remember most is not the destruction, but the strength of the human spirit. I saw it in the eyes of Pema, the farmer who was already preparing her small patch of land for the next planting. I heard it in the voice of the hotel owner, who, despite losing everything, spoke of rebuilding and welcoming visitors again. I felt it in the laughter of the children playing by the river, their innocence a bright light in the face of hardship. The people of Sikkim have a deep and ancient relationship with these mountains. They know their beauty, but they also know their power. They accept both with a grace and resilience that is truly inspiring. The prayer flags that flutter everywhere in Sikkim seem to hold a deeper meaning now. They are not just prayers for peace and prosperity, they are also symbols of hope and perseverance. They are a declaration that even after the fiercest storm, life goes on. The wind will continue to blow, the rivers will continue to flow, and the people will continue to live, to work, and to smile. The mountains themselves seem to teach this lesson. They have been shaped by floods, earthquakes, and landslides for millions of years, yet they still stand tall and magnificent. They endure. And so do the people who live in their shadow. Sikkim is more than just a tourist destination. It is a powerful teacher. It teaches you about the beauty of nature, the importance of community, and the incredible strength that lies within the human heart. The journey to Lachung, Yumthang, and beyond is a journey into a world of pristine beauty, but it is also a journey into the heart of resilience. The spirit of the mountains is not just in the high peaks and the rushing rivers, it is in the unbroken spirit of its people. And that is the most beautiful sight of all. I left a piece of my heart in those mountains, but I carried away with me a feeling of hope that will stay with me forever.